Welcome back. John here with Elton's Retirement Journey and Travel. And we are going to continue on with the convenience store clerk to retiree. And where we left off was we were talking about the importance of the budget and part time income. So I'm going to bring you up to 2007. 2007, I'm with Newell Recycling, and I'm also working at the Georgia Dome, and I worked many events down there. One of those was the SEC Championship. Used to watch Alabama come in and knock off many teams: Arkansas, LSU, the Georgia Bulldogs. Any team that was able to win and match up with them at the SEC tournament. Well, this weekend is past, and the Georgia Bulldogs have knocked off Alabama here in Atlanta. And so I got another pendant. So I got 2025, 2022, 2021, and there's a 2014 down there. And this big button. I save all these and I switch them up depending on what the event is. So that turned out to be pretty good. So let's go ahead and continue on with this. And one of the reasons why I want to do this is I'm basically your person you're going to see in the grocery store, pull up next to. Um, you know, you were working, you took this job at the recycling company making $35,000 a year, and then you moved into 2007. You kept working your part-time job, and the recycling company, with the sales back then in the booming economy, with the housing and everything, how well it was going, you did receive some bonuses. Um, so here in East Point, Georgia, which is south of Atlanta, on the headed south, I went ahead and started saving those bonuses. And I was watching a lot of CNBC, CNN, and I went to a couple home buyer seminars. And back then, now this is right when the housing crisis, they were just giving away loans, but that's not what I wanted. My dad had an adjustable rate mortgage, and I wanted to go with a fixed. Now interest rates were still going down, so I went ahead and saved my money up all of 2007, and then I did the same in 2008, if I recall, and I went ahead and applied for a mortgage with Delta Community Credit Union, and I did have some credit card debt, but I got not pre-qualified, but I got pre-approved, and I went on my own and I started shopping. I think I got approved up to $175,000 with that little. I think my income came out to about 40,000 after 2007, going into 2008, and so that's what I did. I started looking for homes, and at that time, with the appreciation in the housing, a lot of people were trying to sell their property and then go move out further out, buy something that was brand new or bigger. So there were a lot of homes on the market right there in East Point, which is where I wanted to stay. And what had happened was the mortgage crisis came. And I knew it was something up because my boss was coming in, man. He was going into the office, closing the doors and stuff like that. And our contractor who worked on the software that we use, we have a lot of weights connected up, and the trucks and stuff would come in, and we would capture the weight, we would capture the material, we would do the deduction, take pictures and all that kind of stuff. They wanted to know how many customers were coming in per hour. And what happened was they started slowly laying people off. I came into work, and the guy, one of the admins, he says, if anybody calls that they can't get in, transfer them to me. And what they were doing is their people were coming in, going to work, and their accounts were access denied. They were locked out. Then they would call the help desk. I would transfer them. He would get HR on the line. HR would go over there, meet them, take them away, have them clean out their desks, and then they were terminated. and this went through pretty much all of started in 2008, and then the market was going down. And at that time, I had got me a real estate because I got pre-approved, and I started looking at properties. And then when the everything fell apart, um, I made a comment to the assistant manager who he went to HBCU, and he had been there um, since I had started. I said, hey, it may be better for me financially to go to Savannah. I didn't want to lose my job, and so I put that out there. And the guys that had got hired, we ramped up the IT department. Everybody that got hired last got let go, and it was a big mess. And then they just finally just brought everybody that they didn't need to run the business in, and just let them go all together in the conference room. So that's how that went. So we went from 207, which is the first full year. We got into 208. I stayed okay there, and I think it was 2009 that while I was looking for a home, I kind of slowed up on that. There were just so many homes available to look at here in Atlanta area, and I got a call, and the HR VP of HR popped up. I said, I guess it's my time to go in there and get fired. But I went in, and my boss was in there and says, hey, go ahead and relax. He has nothing but good things to say for you. So, we got the new plant down there. We invested $14 million. And, Audrey was one of the young ladies that was stationed in Augusta. And somehow she stepped off the porch and she broke her foot or something. And they needed to get that plant up. They said, well, we're going to let her go, but we want you to go ahead and go on down there. I said, really? And I said, is it going to be any guarantee that I won't get fired? And they said, no, but we will tell you this, you will be safe if you go down there. And because we just invested $14 million. And I said, I need a moment to think. I said, what do you need to think about? He said, well, I just paid my rent. Don't worry about that. We'll cover your rent. Okay. And they said, well, you need to be there on Monday. And it was a Wednesday. So I went ahead and moved. I was depressed because I was in the process of buying a house, but you buy a house and lose a job and you can't get working again. So I went down to Savannah. And so I got down there Easter, I do believe it was 2009. So I finished out 2009. I stayed down there all of 2010. And I came back. But when I got down there, the new plant had a security operation down there. So I left the job that I had at the stadium. I wasn't going to work that no more. And I like having a part-time job. So by May of 2009, I was working at the city of Savannah at one of their yards where they park all the trucks, and the police and the fire come in to fill up their gas. They put a certain amount of gas in the vehicle and they ride around, so you would see them coming in. And that was at a yard, and it was a 12-hour day on a Saturday, and it was a 8-hour day on Sunday. So in May, I was getting 20 hours a weekend every week. So that was 2 extra paychecks. I actually took a 1 month of pay, and I added a half onto it by adding an extra 80 hours. And so I started getting these 2 extra checks, and I had that credit card debt, so I knocked out that credit card debt. 1 check went to that, the other check went into the savings, and that's what I did. And so by the time 2010 rolls around, I was able to take a nice vacation, and I came back to Atlanta. And that's when I got experience of living down there in Savannah, and they called it the Low Country, close to the ocean and all that. And it wasn't what I thought it was. I thought I was going to be going out to the beach, and it was going to be like South Beach and everything. But it wasn't. It was all timeshares and stuff. I mean, you can go out there and hang out, but lay on the beach, which I did. And I'll probably do that in another year or so. But I didn't like it down there. There was no sports, hardly any entertainment. And then I couldn't get, I called the Falcons up and told them that I had moved and I wanted to, not take those tickets because the season hadn't started. I wanted a refund. They told me no. So I started trying to sell some of those tickets, and I think Mike Vick was at Philadelphia or somewhere, and I sold that ticket, and I got rid of a couple of the tickets, and I came back and I had all my tickets with me, and there was a lady sitting in front of me. She wanted to bring her grandson, so she bought a couple of the tickets, and after that, I didn't renew those tickets anymore. After that particular season, I wanted to get back to Atlanta. But what I did was I eliminated all my credit card debt, and then I built up more cash. I went from about 5,000 up to 10,000, and then I moved back, and that's how I did that. So getting that part-time job allowed me to get out of debt and save more money. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on and tell you about the car purchase. So the Oldsmobile I had when I was back at the recycling company, the way I got back is one of the guys' wife had finished her pharmacy degree, and she was up in Wisconsin. She got a job, and she said, we're going to live in Wisconsin. So that opened up a position because I was going to quit. So I wound up transferring back to Doraville, which is close to where I live. I had already planned to move to the area I'm in now because I was going to quit and just move back and do contract work. So I had got an apartment because one of the managers was like, man, you sure didn't do that fast? I had already had it in plan, in motion, and everything. So I got into an apartment, and that apartment was costing me about $500 a month. So all this time between 206, 207, 208, 209, 2010 and 2011, I had got a 2-bedroom apartment in Savannah for $550 a month. So the renting back then with that little $40,000 is what I was making by then, plus $8,000 from the security got me up to $48,000. I was able to maintain myself, but eventually that car did die. So I went ahead and cut off the catalytic converter. They gave me a little bit more, and then the recycling company bought it and scrapped it. So I must have cleared about $750 on the vehicle with some of the other parts, because somebody else lost their job here, and I collected their rims and all their pots and stuff, pots and pans, and some of that stuff I took in to a different recycling company, and I got some money for that. But I went ahead and I bought the 2012 Honda Civic, and that was September 31st, 2011. So I checked my notes, and I carried that car for 5 years to keep the car note at $300. It was $303.92, and my plan was to keep my costs as close to $500, and I think the insurance ran about $145, so we're up to about $450, and then we had the fuel, which was running about $60 to $70 for a whole month. I would fill up that Honda and I would drive it for 2 weeks, and then I would get paid again. So I had that for $550 for 5 years. So I'm going to leave it there. When I come back, I'm going to talk to you about the home purchase, because I was listening to Clark Howard, and he said that if you want to buy another car, whatever you think you want to pay for a payment, you go ahead and put that away. And so I started saving $225 a month. So when I went and bought the car, remember I had $10,000. I put $4,000, and that left me with $6,000. So here on this convenience store clerk to retiree, I'm going to go ahead and end this now. But when I come back, I'm going to take you through how I used the NACA program from a guy on a different job. I've left the recycling company and I'm in a different job, and they told me, he said, go ahead and check this program out. And then I went ahead and got the home I'm in now. But I'm gonna save that for another segment and get this posted up um, next week, probably on a Monday, and see we get the views, and then I would develop the next one and tell you about the home purchase, and you can see how I was doing things and how I got all this stuff, a decent car where I never have to worry about, and then get into this home that I'm in now. So I got two of the major things now that I'm retired, and I want to share that with you. So this is John with Elton's Retirement Journey and Travel, and this is a segment entitled Convenience Store Clerk to Retiree, just telling you my story. And I'm going to come back with that next week, and I'll catch up with you. Please go ahead and subscribe, give me some likes as we go through this journey to retirement.